This is the Batflip Podcast. Now here's your host, Damien, David, and Matt. Welcome in, everyone, for another episode of the Batflip Podcast. Damien and David here with you tonight. We're going to talk about the offseason, right? It's starting to kick into full gear. We've had our first couple trades happen. We've had a couple free agent signings happen. And then we're getting ready for the winter meetings is next week. So starting to see stuff percolating a little bit. We got non-tenders to talk about. It's an exciting time to be doing this podcast here, David. So how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. Just coming off Thanksgiving. Kind of sad that we had the break now and it's over, but awesome week. Spent it with my parents. They came up to hang out with me this weekend, so that was really nice. Got to see them all week last week, and then Clemson won on Saturday, so we'll take that. And then there's about 13 or 14 inches of snow on the ground up here in Chicago, so it is definitely that winter time where it feels like baseball is years away. But at the very least, it's that roster construction time, so it's exciting and invigorating from that front. But yeah, how you doing this week?
Doing great. We got Lane State University is in the house now, so that was a wild. Really, my break wasn't really a break; it was from work, but I was so enthused on everything that was happening with that college football cycle. But there will be more talk of that on Wednesday's college football episode, so be sure to go over there or stay on this channel just on Wednesday to check that stuff out. Episode will probably be out Thursday if I had to assume. But I mean, the baseball season, it's off season's here, right? Like, I think some of the moves, we've already done a couple quick flip episodes this year. Those have been really exciting. We've seen really good turnout for those. So if you haven't watched those, go check those out here on the same channel as well. And then while you're watching this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I always forget to do that. Drop it here. We're trying to grow. Come join us. But I've been good. I'm excited for the winter meetings next week because it sounds like we're supposed to have some movement during it. So, but we have movement now. So let's go ahead and talk about those. And if you watch our Ryan Helsley quick flip video, we kind of talked a little bit about the Taylor Ward for Grayson Rodriguez move, but we said we wanted to save that talk for this show. So it was a 1-for-1 Taylor Ward, who's a 31-year-old outfielder going into his last year of his deal, going to free agency next offseason, coming off a 117 WRC plus year, almost a 3 WAR, 36 homers, 103 RBIs. Taylor Ward's a pretty good outfielder, I would say, at this point. Grayson Rodriguez is a former, top 5 prospect in the game, 26 years old right now. He's had his litany of issues and injuries there. But there's a ton of potential, and you're getting him for what I believe 4 years. I want to say 4 years of control there.
Yep.
So this one was really, really interesting when it happened. It was also broken by some random burner account adding all of the MLB insiders saying this happened, and it was like 2 hours later that the news officially broke. But David, when you saw this move come through, what was your first thoughts?
I have been a Grayson Rodriguez believer from day one. I cannot believe the Orioles gave up on him, man. I can't believe it. The injuries have been bad. The elbow last year, he missed the entire season with the elbow, and then the shoulder. It's been bad. But the thing about pitchers is when they're great and able to stay healthy, they're great, right? They're the most valuable assets in the game right now. And while I think Grayson Rodriguez, I mean, you could theoretically have said, the medicals aren't good enough. We're gonna try to move him for whatever value we can. I think they probably could have done better than just getting Taylor Ward. Now, that's not to say Taylor Ward's not a good player. I think Taylor Ward really does fit Baltimore, fit the park very well. He's my one issue with this. He's essentially the Tyler O'Neill acquisition from last year all over again, but without the oh gosh, Tyler O'Neill, he hits 10 home runs and then blows a hamstring, right? Like that's his issue year in and year out. At least this way, O'Neill can move to DH, focus on hitting, not running around in the outfield. Ward can play left field. I feel like this is a solution that maybe I'm not saying wasn't needed for Baltimore, but like maybe they could have done better, especially
Yeah,
dangling Grayson Rodriguez. Like I'm guessing some GMs weren't even aware Grayson Rodriguez was available because I think that kind of potential. He's a potential ace. He throws 95, 96 when he's healthy. The 4 or 5 off speeds. The kind of guy that when it all clicks and when it did click the year that he did have that was healthy, he was one of the better pitchers in the game. It's just eventually it's got to click and eventually he's got to stay healthy. And those are obvious caveats. But for a pitching star of a team like Baltimore, I mean, I just don't see how you gave up on him. And for just 1 year of Taylor Ward. Now they can go extend Taylor Ward. And, that's certainly a possibility. We'll see what happens there. The ownership seems to be spending more money since we talked about with Ryan Helsley. But and my initial thought is Baltimore has given up way too quickly on Grayson Rodriguez. The Angels might have stolen a potential, organization changing type pitcher when it comes to how we perceive the Angels starting pitching group, because the development's been bad over there too. They haven't, Grayson's not going into the best scenario, but he's talked already about how he feels ready for spring training. He's excited that somebody bought in and has gone out of their way to go get him. I think we could see a very renewed and healthy and motivated Grayson Rodriguez in an Angels uniform, which I believe, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, he's going home. I believe he's from California, Los Angeles area before he got drafted. I want to say that's what happened.
Let me look real quick. He's from Texas.
Oh, that's right. All right. Well, he still was very motivated.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If there's one position of need that I don't think Baltimore needed, it's another outfielder.
Yeah.
Like you have Dylan Beavers, you have Colton Cowser, you have Heston Kierstad, you have Tyler O'Neill, you have Judd Fabian, you got Enrique Bradfield Jr. You have who's the other one? Judd Fabian's not really ready.
I guess why wouldn't you trade Bradfield and or Fabian for Taylor Ward and keep Grayson Rodriguez?
I think the Angels wanted pitching. I think that's what it was. This just felt like the Orioles were ready to kind of move off the Grayson experience. They must think that something's wrong with that elbow. Now, it is worth mentioning the elbow injury that I don't even think it was elbow. I think it was actually shoulder for Grayson.
Initially, yeah.
But it wasn't like a reconstructive surgery. This wasn't, I have to go in and reconfigure basically whatever your shoulder was or elbow was. I think it was like removing bone chips and bone spurs and stuff like that. If I remember him talking right during his press conference with the Angels, the media availability. But it's also worth mentioning that the Angels did hire Mike Maddox this year as their new pitching coach. So Mike Maddox is widely regarded as one of the best pitching coaches in the game. Mm-hmm. So I would say this might not even be the same like Angels development system that we've been talking about here. Like Grayson Rodriguez is going to be in the major leagues and he's going to be working with Mike Maddox. That is massive. I feel like that's a really, really good fit there to get Grayson on track. Taylor Ward to the Orioles. It's a right-handed power bat. Sure, there weren't a lot of those out on the market, in free agency especially. Like right now, if we're going to talk about more later, but the best right-handed outfielder it seems like is Adolis Garcia. But that happened after this trade. Yep. So before that, it was
Harrison Bader.
Yeah. It was like, and he's not a power hitting outfielder. No. So then it's like Tommy Pham, right. Like that's the options you're looking at for a right-handed hitting power outfielder. So I understand it from that aspect. I just think it's hard to give up on 4 years of a 26-year-old top 5 prospect in the game, notoriously at one point, for a 31-year-old rental outfielder. Again, if you extend Taylor Ward, then okay, sure. But then again, you're running into the same problem you've already had with you have so many outfield prospects as it is. Where are they going to play? Right. Like you already have Cowser, Kierstad, Beavers. Those guys are already up. Bradfield's probably going to be up this year. Like you have O'Neill now. Now you have Ward. I mean,
You
you're
have to,
talking
the
six
key,
guys, six
the
or seven
key,
guys.
the key factor that Baltimore has missed over the last couple of seasons is cashing in on those prospects. We've seen guys, AJ Preller. This is those prospects to the top
Sure.
5. He's trying to move them. I'm not saying
Well,
become AJ Preller, but those prospects have had higher value than they have right now.
Here's the thing: you have to look at who the president of baseball operations / GM is there. It's Mike Elias. Where did he come from? Houston. What did Houston do? You developed and brought up your core at one time.
Yep.
That's what they are doing with these prospects. They want to have a very cheap team that is young, controllable pieces that they can keep together for a long time. And then as those stars start getting up, they want to pay those stars and supplement them, the other cheaper contracts, back with prospects again, with young guys. So I don't understand. I understand the move. I don't like the move.
Right. Because Grayson was one of the stars. He was one of the young prospects they brought up in this group.
What this just tells me is that you're going to be aggressive on the pitching market this year.
Here's hoping. They've already been aggressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about Helsley, but you have to be aggressive in the starting pitching market. It's for you to be competitive in the AL East, to me, you need 2 starting pitchers. 2 good starting pitchers.
Right.
2 more than what you have, because you have Trevor Rogers, you have Kyle Bradish, who I like those 2. Then you have Dean Kramer, who would be a fine number 5. Tyler Wells, who you could bounce in between that 5 role there. But you need 2 guys to get up there, right?
Yeah.
You need Cade Povich if you're going to – I would like him more as a lefty reliever, but if you're going to bet on him being a starter, he needs to develop like you thought he would develop.
For sure.
So that's going to be very interesting to see how that whole thing ends up working out for them and where they go through the offseason. Moving on to the next one. We had talking in the AL East, talking about starting pitching and a team wanting to upgrade that. The Boston Red Sox went out and acquired Sonny Gray from the St. Louis Cardinals for left-handed pitching prospect Brandon Clark, pitcher Richard Fitz, and $20 million of cash to really bring down that Sonny Gray contract. I think it was they renegotiated or something to basically make it like a 1 year for $41 million or something. But St. Louis sent $20 million in cash. So it really is like a $20 million deal for Sonny Gray, $21 million for 1 year.
Right.
And then I believe they turned the option into just this 1 year. I believe he's a free agent technically straight after the year. So what do you think about Sonny Gray going to Boston and basically becoming that number 2 behind Garrett Crochet?
I love this. I love this deal from Boston's perspective, right? You trade an A-ball pitching prospect, well regarded, throws 100 mile an hour from the left side. That's well regarded. It's always going to be well regarded, but that 100 miles per hour from the left side currently has 0 command. That's not a guy that's going to impact the next couple of seasons in Boston, barring a sudden shift to the bullpen for Brandon Clark. And Richard Fitz is major league depth. That's exactly the type of guy the Cardinals are going to look to acquire, develop a little, and flip back. He's already been moved a couple times as Fitz, so it's kind of funny that he keeps getting moved around, but he's just kind of one of those major league depth pieces with options right now that you can utilize for these rosters. He's probably going to start in the rotation down in St. Louis, I believe. But for Boston, I mean, this is a no doubt slam dunk. Sonny Gray, he's getting up there in age, but the stuff is still nasty. FIP still loves Sonny Gray to the point that last season he had a couple of real clunker starts in there where FIP kind of doesn't care, right? It's still showing him as one of the better pitchers in baseball. And I don't know that he's exactly where his FIP currently is. Let me pull it up.
I got it right here.
Yeah.
It was 339 last year with a 307 xFIP.
Right. Yeah. Like the home run ball has been biting him the last couple of years, where his FIP in 2024 was 312. These are like ace level numbers for Sonny Gray, but the ERA didn't match. And I know we've run into this again with Dylan Cease, right? The guy that beats his ERA out with the FIP type of metrics every time. It's really good until it happens every single season. For Sonny Gray, it's been happening every season since 2023. Once he got to St. Louis, the ERA has been higher than the FIP. So despite the fact that I really like Sonny Gray, I think he's maybe more of the number 3 starter type pitcher where, you don't want to rely on him in games 1 or 2, those kind of pivotal early games in the playoff series. But he is a guy you're very confident handing the ball to once every 5 games all season long because he's very durable as Sonny Gray. He misses a couple starts here and there, but he'll be there for him in the playoffs. Like I think Boston's absolutely nailed this trade because the value they gave up to me just isn't that big. Brandon Clark could pop and become a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
But I would take that. I would take the risk to grab a very reliable pitcher in Sonny Gray, kind of know what you're going to get. The off speed is what carries Sonny Gray around. And we're going to hear that a lot, right? A lot of these guys that have been signed early this offseason are guys that are off speed reliant. They're not heavy fastball guys. They're not heavy velocity guys. Grayson Rodriguez is going to be the hardest thrower we talk about today, and he throws 95. So Sonny Gray's a crafty pitcher. The age for what we've seen, right? Velocity and command are the 2 things that matter the most.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to aging pitchers. So if your command starts to go and you don't have the velocity to back it up, you're fine. But Sonny Gray hasn't lost the command, right? That guy is walking less and less and less players.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, even though he's down to basically a 91 mile an hour fastball, he walked the least amount of people this year than he has in his career. He was under 2 walks per 9, and his strikeout rate was still above 10 per 9, which that has bumped up over the last couple years.
Raw numbers, he struck out 200, walked 38. It's great. Yeah. It's good numbers, good ratio.
It's going to be interesting to see how he transitions back to the AL East because he did not have a good time there in New York. He was very vocal, especially about fan base in New York. Now he's going to Boston, where that's another rowdy fan base, another big time thing. He didn't have that much success in New York before. So it's going to be interesting for that. But I also think this is a little bit different Sonny Gray. That was 8 years ago at this point that he was in New York, which is crazy to say. I can't believe it's been that long since he was in New York. But I like this move, but I agree with what you said. I think he's more of a 3 option here. But I was having this argument with someone. They're like, oh, I just don't love this move. I just don't know why you do it here. Like, Sonny Gray shouldn't be your number 2. Like, he shouldn't be your guy there. I was like, no, I agree. But the problem is they're like, well, why are you paying $20 million for Sonny Gray then? I was like, well, that's the going rate for, like, that's more than the going rate basically for a number 3 pitcher. I was like, and second off, you didn't trade much to get him. It's a 1-year deal. And you still leave yourself open for many different avenues to get a second pitcher in there, right? We still all basically widely expect them to trade one of their outfielders this offseason. If that's Jarren Duran, if that's Wilyer Abreu, who knows? But if you trade one of those guys for a starting pitcher, there you go, right?
Yeah,
There's plenty of other
that guy slots in it too.
Yeah, that guy slots in it too. If you can go out to the free agency market. If you go get an Amai, or if you go get, a Framber or something like that, like that guy slots in at number 2 for you. Right. It fits perfectly fine. Sonny Gray is the reliable veteran that will give you what you want. Your 160-ish innings from your number 3 starter, and then you move on from there. And you got, I think one other thing too, you got a couple interesting guys in this rotation that people aren't really talking about enough, right? Brian Bayo, he had a pretty good season last year. Pretty good season. Another year there. Cutter Crawford is coming back. I think he missed all of last year? He missed all of last year. He's pretty solid too. Then another one, Patrick Sandoval. He missed all of last year. He blew his arm out halfway through 2023. Yep. He signed a 2-year deal with Boston last year. He's coming back as well. He was a guy who had some pretty good, successful seasons in Anaheim. That he had a 3.62 ERA, then a 2.91 ERA. That 2023 looks a little bit weird, but there were some signs where he was kind of pitching through an injury that year. Then came back in 2024, blew his arm out after about 80 innings. So, I like what Boston's doing here with this move. Clark could turn into something very well. There's a lot of reliever risk there, but it does have some big swing and miss for sure. Yep. But it's just a move you do. If you're a team competing like Boston, you don't let a journeyman in a guy like Richard Fitz stop you from doing much, and you don't let a prospect that you drafted 5th round in, when was Clark drafted?
24?
2024 fifth round, who's 22 years old, right? You don't let him in high A. You don't let him stop you from getting a reliable starting pitcher now. So
not at all.
I don't hate this.
You didn't mention Early and Toyle either. Both of those guys are really interesting starting pitchers.
Yeah,
that'll be up for Boston this year as well.
Exactly. So I'm perfectly fine with what Boston's doing here. I would expect them to go get some sort of another starter, probably more accomplished, and then let Bayo, Toyle, Early, those guys, Sandoval, figure it out there. Because if there's one thing we know in baseball, you need more than 5 starters.
Right.
Nowadays, you need probably close to 10. Let's go talk about one of the more interesting deals that we had happen, and that was a straight-up deal between the Texas Rangers and the New York Mets, which saw Brandon Nimmo get traded from the New York Mets to the Texas Rangers for Marcus Semien. So one of the rare major leaguer for major leaguer trades, 1-for-1, both on kind of decent contracts. I think Semien has 3 years left on his deal. Nimmo has, I think, 5 years left on his deal. So the Mets are trying to focus more on some defensive side of it now. Marcus Semien is an Iron Man. Basically, before this year, he had played in 159 games in 4 straight years at least. And 3 of those years was 162, 161, 162. So literally in 3 years, he had missed 1 game. Then he missed, 3 games in 2024? Then dealt with some injuries this year. He's gone through some aging curve for sure. He's 35 years old, still pretty good defensive second baseman there. And then it opens up the Mets in the outfield. Felt like they were going to have to make some move to figure out some of the corners and moving that around with some of their other guys. Nimmo going to Texas feels like a great fit for him too. Mm-hmm. Skip Schumacher getting a gritty top of the order guy for his lineup. That's just that fits the bill for what a Skip Schumacher guy would want. Like, I was thinking about this. If there was a Skip Schumacher player in MLB, I feel like it would just be a picture of Brandon Nimmo.
Probably.
Almost to the T. And Nimmo's a really successful player. I mean, he's had basically 3 WAR every year since 2021. 2024, he had 2.8, but it's close enough.
Yeah, I don't know that I understand this deal from the Mets perspective, right? I think I understand offloading Nimmo, opening up a spot in your outfield, maybe providing you can go out and court some other outfield free agents or maybe even bring back Pete Alonso. Those seem to be kind of the potential outcomes here for the Mets. But I don't understand the bringing Marcus Semien back in here. I think Nimmo's deal is a little prohibitive, but Semien is hitting this point where he might fall off a cliff as soon as next year. I like Marcus Semien a lot. This is a player that is kind of he's a stalwart type of player. He's one of those guys that's had some MVP caliber seasons in here, like a great career that's going to end up, being talked to. He'll be on a Hall of Fame ballot someday, right? Like, this is a long-standing great player. The Mets are acquiring him at basically the worst possible point, right? He's just this first time coming off of an injury, and he's not getting younger. Like this, the injuries are going to continue to pile. The defense, you talked about the defense and how great he's been. Defense was the worst it's been in his entire career this year. Like you're just going to get. I don't know what the Mets are going to get here. I don't know if Simeon's bat was being suppressed by the ballpark, right? Texas was notorious last year for having a horrid effect on the hitters. I do hope that doesn't carry over to Brandon Nimmo. I'm guessing Texas will make some adjustments and get the offense to come back next season. But Semien was likely getting suppressed by the ballpark. Will he be better in New York? Maybe. But also, the slug was down at 364 last year. This is an older player losing power, losing bat speed, losing fielding footwork ability on the defensive side. I just don't know if I don't know if I agree with this strategy from the Mets. Get rid of Nimmo and bring in a guy for 3 years. They can buy their way out of it, right? But I don't know if I agree with this.
Yeah, he's coming off back-to-back seasons with under 700 OPS, right? That's below league average for sure. The defense, we say it's a step back, but it was 127 games, and he still had he was still in the 92nd percentile and outs above average. He's still at a 7. Like, that was probably around the 10-ish range if he plays the entire year. The year before, he was 19. The year before that, 16. But then if you look at 2022, he was at 8. So I think it's pretty close to the defensive level he has been, right? But he is 35. You did mention that. It is 35. You expect that to continually go down a little bit as players age. You get in for his age 35, 36, 37 season, basically. So that was one thing that David Stearns basically mentioned was trading a 3-year contract for a 5-year contract and improving the infield defense. He felt like the up the middle defense with Lindor and Semien might be the best defensive infield, best defensive up the middle team in baseball. I know what you're saying, but I'm basically what he's looking at, right?
I'll let my laugh be
Yes.
all of the volume there.
With your Pirates shirt on right now, so we clearly know what you mean. O'Neal Cruz
right.
at shortstop.
That's exactly.
But I agree with you. Like, is this ballpark related or is this Marcus Semien aging related? I think it's probably a little bit of both. But I think if you're talking about back-to-back years at a level of under league average, I don't know if I completely trust that. And if you let's look at the splits for him for 2025, home and away. Home was a 217, away is a 242 average. If you want to look at OPS, it was a 617 OPS at home, a 718 on the road. But even then on the road, he was a 99 WRC plus.
Right.
So just about league average on the road still with a very bad bat. So, I mean, would you take league average bat with his defense at second base for you? Maybe.
Yes.
But
I would take it. I would take that, but again, that is still a downgrade from what Nimmo is right now. You have to
Correct.
show me the rest. You got to show me the rest of the moves if you're the Mets,
Yeah.
right? Are you opening an outfield spot?
Very fair.
Are you opening this outfield spot from Nimmo in order to go sign Kyle Tucker? Because if you bring Kyle Tucker in on top
Cody
of that,
Bellinger.
yeah, Bellinger.
I mean, they need center fielder. Tucker's the right fielder. You have Soto locked up in right field. What are you going to do there?
I put Tucker in
You know
left
what I mean?
field.
I think their thing is a center fielder. So,
Okay.
like,
Cody
even
center.
if you
that makes sense.
if you do Cody, you could even go do a Harrison Bader type. Like,
Well,
if you
at that point, I would be upset. If I were the
well,
Mets.
I'm saying if you did that, but also use some of that moves for pitching.
Sure.
Use some of that money for pitching wise, right? Because we know they need pitching as well. Like, I'm not going to directly say it's like a 1-for-1. Like, would I take Semien and Bader over Nimmo? Probably not. But would I take Semien, Bader, and Ranger Suarez over Brandon Nimmo?
Maybe.
Probably. If that
I don't
stretch,
know if I would
probably.
actually.
I mean, knowing their pitching
That'd be
staff.
tough.
I mean, look at their pitching staff right now.
fascinating.
It's Nolan McLean, David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga, and Jonathan.
You're just if I'm a Mets fan though, I'm sitting here saying you're telling me we couldn't just sign Ranger Suarez with Nimmo and left.
Maybe,
That's where I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
maybe.
frustrating. It's a weird spot.
I do, but then you got to say who's playing second at that point for you. Jeff McNeil. Would you really want? Maybe.
He's been there.
Yeah.
He's
I
not
don't
as good as not as good a defender as Semien, but
This is one of those moves that, like you said, we need to see what the end result looks like.
right.
So this will be fascinating to look back on our team previews that we do. This will be an interesting one to look back and say, okay, what does this team actually look like? And what do the Rangers look like at the end, right? Because you would expect maybe Josh Smith plays for the Rangers second base there
Right.
or something like that.
And Jung at third.
And Josh Jung at third. And then you kind of figure out what you're going to do from there too. And
Bosque on the bench probably.
somewhere
yeah.
around there. Anyways, it's going to be really, really interesting.
Right.
So let's look at the reliever market because we had a couple moves happen here. First one being Phil Maton signed a 2-year, $14.5 million deal with a third-year club option for the Chicago Cubs. Maton is one of those really, really interesting free agents because it seems like he's just getting better the older he gets. He's 32, just put up his best season ever, and he barely throws 90.
Yep.
Like, he doesn't throw hard at all, but yet he still strikes out a crap ton of people. Like, Fangraphs doesn't even have his, like, velo for this year because he got traded, like his average velo on it. But either way, the last year we have it at Houston when he was 29, it was 91, right? It's going to be right around the same thing.
I've got baseball savant pulled up. I've got the velos for you. He
What's
throws
the
a sinker and a cutter.
Okay.
The cutter is 90. The sinker's 94. He throws 94.
Okay.
It's okay. It's not going to blow your doors off. It's not a velocity guy, but it's okay.
But he's almost striking out 12 per 9.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. He limits hard contact. He under a half a homer per 9 basically for him.
Yeah.
279 ERA this year, 285 expected ERA, 260 FIP, a 304 xFIP. This is just a guy who he's a very good reliever. The older he's getting, the better he's getting. He's not going to blow your doors off, but he's very effective at what he does. I know we've talked before about like, oh, we need more of a like the Cubs need more velocity in their pin, and then it's like, all right, so then they sign a guy who throws 90, and it's like, well, of course. But I think what I'm saying, like he does very well at limiting the hard contact, no matter what he's throwing. That I would kind of throw that in there, and I wouldn't say that this is the only move the Cubs are going to do in the bullpen. So if you go get someone that throws some velocity with him, then okay.
I misread it. Sinker's also 90. They're both 90.
Okay.
But the what I was looking at, because my initial reaction was, as you said, right? I was like, man, the Cubs they don't need another guy who throws 90. It seems like they got all those guys, right? Here's the thing about Phil Maton, though, is that I'm trying to find a better curveball in the game of baseball right now. I'm struggling to find one. This pitch is getting hit at got hit 136 batting average on the curveball last year. Had a 42% whiff rate, 42% K rate. Put away was 30%. That means when he threw it with 2 strikes, 30% of the time it resulted in a strikeout. It's really nasty. Yeah. Got hit hard 15% of the time. I'm struggling. I put it out on Twitter when he got signed. I was like, please, somebody find me a better curveball in the game of baseball. I never got a response. I'm pretty sure this is the best curveball in the game. And that's what the Cubs are going for. They're going for those results. I'm fine. I'm down with it. Like, he fits perfectly well. This deal's not crazy. It's
I would
a good
say
deal.
From a reliever side, I think it's the best. The only argument I have, and you have to hear me out, because when he's healthy and when it's on, Lance McCullers might have the better curveball.
Oh man, it's been a few years since.
But it's been a few years.
No. I think you're right. I'm gonna go look. I want to go see the last healthy year of Lance McCullers. When was that? Maybe like 22.
I don't know. There was that one postseason run where he threw it against the Yankees.
Got to be 21. Let's see what.
And it was
2021 Lance McCullers curveball.
20-something curveballs in a row, 27 curveballs in a row, and not one was hit or something.
McCullers curveball, 116 batting average, 32% hard hit, 37% whiff, 36% K.
Yeah.
In 22. I don't think that was his best year, but
that was my only argument. He's got one of the best ones.
That's a really good comparison.
But from a reliever, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
like that's that. Maton's really good, and this is a deal. It shows 14.5, but the actual dollars they're fluctuated a little bit to make it look weirder. It's like 4 in 1 year and 5 or something another year or something.
Please follow IV Futures on Twitter and all the socials for Greg. Greg told us it was more like a 2 for 12 with a 2-year, $2 million opt out, $2.5 million opt out, something like that is kind of the breakdown. I believe that's how the actual payout's going to be. So this first year is going to be a little bit less, second year a little bit more, and then there's that buyout that'll hit technically on next year's books, but in the offseason. AAV calculations purposes, it's like 7.5.
Yeah.
That's still a fine deal for me. I think if you're acquiring good swing and miss in the bullpen and not paying upwards of $10 million these days, you're going for a bargain. You're going to get a bargain. And that's what Jed Hoyer and company love to do. They love to find them a bullpen bargain. They've put together some really good bullpens the last couple of years and gotten some, we'll call them bargains on some of these guys. Brad Keller comes to mind, right? Pomeranz, Thielbar, and I didn't like the Thielbar move last year. I'm not going to be on that train these days, right? If they sign a bullpen guy, I'm going to be like, they know what they're talking about. I'm going to go find why it's right.
I wonder if one of the people on this podcast actually liked the Thielbar move and got criticized for it.
I've been vocally, happily wrong about Caleb Thielbar last year. I want him back. I want them to bring him back. He was really good.
I just remember me and you talking, and you're like, "This is stupid," and I'm like, Dude, he's good.
He's good. He is. He was really good.
I
Yeah.
know. All right, let's move over to the next reliever signing, and that was Raisel Iglesias agreeing to go back to the Atlanta Braves on a 1-year, $16 million deal. There was some interest from Toronto. I guess he turned down a very similar deal from the Blue Jays. There was some interest from the Dodgers that I guess he turned down. I don't know if there was an official offer, but they were close to around this number when they were talking as well for a reliever. It's a 1-year deal. Iglesias is now 35 years old, will be 36 basically when the season's getting ready to start here. This was a guy that I don't know, where did I even have him going in our free agency thing?
Maybe
I had him
not.
returning?
I didn't pull it up. My bad. I thought I had him returning, but I think I put him somewhere else.
Let me see. I'll pull it up real quick. I had him going to the Yankees.
That's
You
right.
had him going to the Reds. Or no, sorry, Matt had him go to the Reds. You also had him going to the Yankees.
Yeah, I think I had him going Yankees. I'd swap Brad Keller over the Braves. But
anyways, I was very worried. The Iglesias profile with where he's at right now is starting to really, really scare me. His ground ball rate this last year dropped to 30%. 30%. His barrel rate from 2024 to 2025 went from 4% to almost over 8.5%. It doubled his barrel rate this year. His ground ball rate, like I mentioned, went from 45 to 30. His fastball velo dropped from about a mile an hour, from 9.5 to about 94.5, a little bit above it. There's stuff here that screams like this guy's starting to get older, and I think the regression is going to hit. Like if you look overall numbers, like raw numbers, hey, he had a 3.21 ERA, a 3.31 FIP. The peripherals back that up a little bit. It just a lot of the advanced numbers really kind of scare me when you dig into it about Raisel Iglesias.
here's what I've got for you. I'm gonna try and get this to work so that I can divide it up. So on July 19th, he gave up 4 runs coming out of the All-Star break on his second day in a row of pitching. Gave up 4 runs to the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
After that, he had a 0.63 ERA down the stretch. He allowed 12 hits in 28 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, struck out over a guy an inning, and put in 18 saves down the stretch for the Braves. I think that the good reliever, Raisel Iglesias, given that very lengthy, it's a third of a season at least, stretch, indicates that the good guy, the good pitcher that we kind of know, he's still in there. He's still going to go out there and do his job. He's not quite the dominant guy he used to be, I don't think, but in stretches like that, he's going to be near unhittable. I think this is a no-brainer move from the Braves. They've got a whole lot of extra open holes and open roles in this bullpen. Locking closer up with a trustworthy guy that's worked well for you for a couple of years is a no-brainer to me, right? Don't get involved in the Suarez and Williams and Edwin Diaz. I mean, I think Matt had him sign Edwin Diaz. Like, you're going to be paying a lot more than this for those guys. This is kind of a slam dunk deal. It's a little bit more on the AAV than I think. It's more on the AAV than Helsley. It's more on that AAV than like some of these other guys are going to get. But for this 1 year, you need Iglesias to help, lock down that bullpen role, that closer role. Yeah. I think he can still do that given this last stretch of games since July. It feels like it's fine. If this was a 2-year deal, I would maybe be a little more concerned. But 1-year deal, I think it's good.
Let me clarify. I think Iglesias is still a solid reliever, but I just think there's stuff there that I would be very worried going into next year saying he's going to come back and put up, your 2-something ERA you're expecting him to put up that he has for most of his career. Like, I think he could be putting up a 3.5 ERA next year, 3.7 ERA. And it's like, that's fine, but it's not what you were paying $16 million for your closer to do. I wouldn't love it. It is a 1-year deal, though. Like, I just think there's some stuff to work out. All right, so that's basically all for the actual transaction moves that we have this week. There's some non-tenders, which we'll get to here in a minute. But let's talk about Warren Schaefer, because the Colorado Rockies were the last team that did not have a manager yet. They did not hire him when you guys did your wrap-up episode of talking about managers and everything like that. But they just basically removed the interim tag from Warren Schaefer and made him the full-time manager. He was their third base coach and an infield coach for a while there. I'm trying to pull up. It's a little unfair to say what his managerial record is because it was a half season of a really bad Rockies team.
He's like 36 and 85.
36 and 86. So maybe the 295 winning percentage, maybe the worst winning percentage ever hired as a full-time manager. But it's not his fault. Give him some slack there.
Yeah.
This is just, it feels like a true transitional period for the Rockies, right? They hired Paul DePodesta to come and be their Pobo. It just feels like he kind of came in. It was so late in the process when he came into that he doesn't really know much. Give the guy who's been with this team, as a coach and then as their manager for the season, give him a run. And then, at the end of next year, you'll figure out if you've had a year basically in there, you could figure out if he's your guy or not, right? Like, he didn't sign some massive deal here. I think it was just like, hey, you're just going to be the manager now. Like, from that, we'll see what moves they make, and then we'll figure it out from there. But it was worth mentioning him at least. Yeah, hang on, Trevor.
It doesn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered who. It wouldn't have mattered who was the roster on this, or who was the. It wouldn't matter who the manager was for this roster. This is, I think, the worst roster I've ever seen in my life going into next year. Like, this Colorado team, it might be a 30-game winner. This guy, it wouldn't matter who. You could put the best manager in baseball. You could put the best manager of all time. You could give them an unfair advantage in any number of ways in this manager's group, and it wouldn't matter in the slightest. This team is putrid. And it's going to continue to be putrid until they make some serious internal changes in evaluations and make some different moves. Because, I mean,
I want to see him sign Nick Madrigal.
I think they should be going after Luis Arias. I think they should be going after these high contact guys. Madrigal would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The issue Madrigal is playing at a mile high that tends to accentuate injuries, and that guy gets hurt all the time. So they need serious organizational overhaul, keeping the guy in there. It doesn't matter, because even if you brought someone else in, I don't think
it's not going to change anything.
I don't think that's going to change anything either.
No.
They need change from the top down, and that's just not going to happen while Montfort's in charge.
Well, I mean, that's what we're seeing right here, right? DePodesta came in. Like, can he make the change? I think he's got a year to figure it out here. That's why you're just leaving the interim in place.
Right.
And while this really has nothing to do with what we're talking about, we do have here, you will admit, David is a Brewers hater.
That's correct. I'll always be a Brewers hater, and I'll never shy away from that.
All right, real quick, let's talk about non-tenders, because that happened over the past couple weeks since we've recorded our last episode. Just some of the notable names that we'll just kind of mention them, and then we can hit on a couple of them here that kind of got non-tendered. Adolis Garcia, Jonah Heim, Evan Phillips, JJ Bleday, Nate Lowe, or Nathaniel Lowe, however you know him, Chris Morrell, MJ Melendez, Jason Foley, Mark Leiter Jr. There's some other names in there, but those are kind of more of the household names. Adolis is really interesting. There were some big-time trade talks around him before the deadline that didn't end up coming to the non-tender deadline, I should say, that ended up coming to fruition. Evan Phillips is another one, closer, obviously, but he's coming off Tommy John surgery. He's going to miss a decent chunk of next year, at least until the All-Star break. So I could see some team giving him maybe a 2-year deal. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him back in LA at one point. But anyone else you wanna hit on here?
Yeah, I think JJ Bleday is real interesting. Throw him into the outfield mix. He should get a starting job on a lower division team, or maybe a bench job on a better team. Should be interesting. Lefty outfielder, might be kind of intriguing. Another guy whose name I didn't throw down, but is kind of intriguing that same role as Mike Tauchman. White Sox non-tendered him. I think he's super interesting as an on-base guy. but the name that's here that I think I am shocked he got non-tendered is Christopher Morel. I mean, from the Rays trading Isaac Paredes for him to non-tender in a year and a half is crazy for me. Like he did not have a good year last year. I can't help but think that there's, some of the maybe played minor league stadium and it doesn't really, he's more of a pulled fly ball guy, and that stadium worked really well for left-handed pull and right-handed oppo. We saw how many times Yandy Diaz hit one off the end of the bat out down,
trust me, I
down
saw
there.
it.
That was Chris Morel. He just was not set up for a good success, but Tampa might go back to the Trop soon, and Trop's pretty good for right-handed
this year.
Yeah, that might be. It's good for right-handed pull hitters. Like giving Chris Morel a chance in the Trop seemed like an obvious move, and they not tendered him. I can't believe that. He's so athletic. He can't play defense. He can't play infield defense. He probably can't play outfield either. But I don't care. Let the guy mash. He can hit.
Here's the real problem is that Caminero broke out at third base. You have Aranda at first base. You have Yandy Diaz at DH. And then you're basically so you have to play left, but then now you're basically having Chandler Simpson, Johnny DeLuca in the outfield, and then you have Josh Lowe in right. You're going to give those kind of prospects more chance there, especially when Morel this year striking out at almost a 36% clip.
Yeah,
he has the massive power in there, right? It was the guy who's hit 26 homers, 21 homers the year before, but he both his last 2 years under a 100 WRC plus, negative WAR, strikes out a ton, plays bad defense, doesn't make consistent enough contact. I mean, you're talking about a career 222 hitter and a 299 on base. You can't have that even if you have a 415 slugging, right? Or that just doesn't work.
The change of scenery is going to do him good, I think.
It would. He'll get a minor league deal with someone. I would love to see him get with one of these, I would say advanced metrics team, but he was just with the Rays.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just a change.
You almost need an old school team. For a guy like this, you almost need a team that says, "Hey, quit trying to hit the home run. Put the ball in play. You're powerful. You're a big guy.
Yeah.
You're strong. Put the ball in play. Focus on making that contact and taking a good plate appearance." And when he was locked in as a Cub, for the final thought on this, when he was locked in as a Cub, it's when he was taking pitches. It's when he was seeing the ball, controlling the plate appearance, and when he was up there hacking away, you could tell, he was going to strike out. Right? It was a little Javi Baez-esque in the struggle periods. So I think that there's some growth for sure. Somebody's going to be patient enough to take a shot on him, but they gave up a lot to get him. Did the Rays, right? And to non-tender him so fast is very questionable.
We should see one of these lower level teams take a shot here. Like the Pirates or the A's or the White Sox. Someone like that. I know certain teams like White Sox have Miguel Vargas, right? They're playing third. Just take a shot though. One of these teams should be the team to do it and just see if you do something, because Morel is still only 26 years old. He does have that massive power. You can figure something out and hit, right? Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see there. All right, let's wrap up with looking ahead to the winter meetings next week. I'm sure we're going to have some quick flip episodes next week for sure. If we're looking at Jeff Passan, if you don't follow Jeff Passan, what are you doing? Basically on his Threads account, which is very awkward because usually it's not on Threads, but he went through a series of threads. I don't even know what you would say over there. He went through a series of posts, let's say there, talking about what to expect moving forward. Sounds like Kyle Schwarber is a big name we expect to go by the end of the winter meetings. If it's not this week, then by the end of the winter meetings next week. Tatsu Amai is another name that people are expecting to sign by the end of the winter meetings. His posting period, I believe, is January 2nd, so he still has over a month, but it sounds like it could potentially go by next week. There was a report today that the Giants aren't going to pay up for what Amai was like or what he's asking for, so that tells me the market is kind of moving there. Wouldn't also be surprised to see Munetaka Murakami. Jeff Passan said that it might not be at the meetings, but it could be, within the next week or so after that, which means it could go down at the winter meetings. Obviously, there's a bunch of trade candidates. The reliever market seems like it's really moving. Pete Fairbanks, Devin Williams, who knows with Edwin Diaz. Seems like that market's moving, so we'll probably have some of that. Does seem like the one market that maybe is a little slow right now is the outfield market because of Bellinger and Tucker going to be taking very long. And kind of the starting pitching market. I know we've seen Dylan Cease move, but outside of Amai, it doesn't sound like there's much else going on there yet. But anything else that you think or you want to hit on any of those?
I think the Schwarber domino is extremely important because that does, I think, release the logjam on Pete Alonso to some extent as well, right? Whoever misses out on Kyle Schwarber is probably pivoting to Pete Alonso. I'm interested to see what Schwarber's market looks like too, because a lot of the numbers we've seen is about $30 million a year, 4 years, something like that. This guy just hit 56 home runs, 5 WAR at DH. He's a true professional hitter at this point, and this is the kind of hitting performance that it reminds me of David Ortiz, who just all hit until he retired, like at a premier level. I think Kyle Schwarber could probably do that. So I think there might be teams that get comfortable giving him an extra year, giving him an extra money, because the Phillies are certainly going to be involved, but we really haven't heard any other suitors. Maybe the Red Sox, but
people saying the Red Sox. Some people are saying the Reds.
The Reds keep getting. The Reds aren't spending money on Kyle Schwarber. They're not spending $30 million on Kyle Schwarber.
I will say Jeff Passan, even Jeff Passan himself, put the team on your shirt as a person that's
I like
Kyle
that.
Schwarber.
They're not in now, but I would love for them to. They should be. Not there. The Pirates need to build a winner. They got 4 more years of Paul Skeens. They got but these are the years.
If the Pirates sign Kyle Schwarber to $100 million deal, they're not doing anything for the next 3 off seasons combined because they spent so much money there that Bob Nutting will not know what to do.
It's Bob Nutting has Kyle Schwarber and Paul Skeens in a playoff series. He'll make the money back. I promise.
Yeah. The thing is they need more than those two to make the playoffs.
They do.
So it'll be interesting to see what all happens, especially with that market moving forward. But like I said, the winter meetings next week, it's going to be electric. I expect there to be a bunch of moves. I expect to be on here almost every night, basically doing a quick flip episode. And then obviously we'll be back the week after for a full recap of moves that we didn't hit on for quick flip stuff. But exciting times here as the off seasons. We're finally kicking into gear. We're we know we always have that month lull period. And then it's December hits. And then we're kind of in that 2-month stretch of all right, things are going to kind of start happening here moving forward. So anything else you want to hit on before you head out?
I don't think so. Should be good. Set for winter meetings, and we'll see you guys next week on various quick flips episodes. Yeah. Please do subscribe.
Yep. So don't forget to comment, subscribe on this video. Let us know during the winter meetings, who are you looking for and where would you like them to go? So thank you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you guys back next week.